with 2% margin of error. So I'm going to use 0.02. Still use your 1.1
96.
because it's 95%. See right there, 99%. That's the z-score. I'll put a square root. What's the p hat? You go, what do I use there? We're going to use the previous p hat value that we got, which was what?
0.7.
Now, everyone in this class I know does this because I get emails. Students come to me before class, up in my office hours, they stay afterwards, they ask me questions about it. You read the textbook and you practice the textbook problems, right? I have to tell you something. What if you did this math problem and there was no prior estimate? I want you to use 0.5 there. Someone got that? So if you hear this word, this is for the textbook. If they say there's no prior estimate, that means they haven't done a sample yet, then guess what you use right here?
0.5.
Use back nav, what's in the middle? 0.5. So only use 0.5 if there's no prior estimate when you're studying and practicing. But here we have one. What did we get earlier?
0.7.
So we use that. This is a what? 0.3?
Mm-hmm.
And look, everyone, I'm going to put it in yellow. What's our variable?
Yeah.
In algebra, they call it the unknown. So do you mind sticking with me for like 2 minutes on the algebra here? Remember how to do this? I'm doing this in my O12 class right now, by the way. Seriously, we're covering this in chapter 10 of the Martin J textbook. To solve for this, everyone, I'm going to divide the 1.96 on both sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here comes some algebra, and I get this. I know it's just an algebra problem. Don't worry if you hate algebra, we'll create a formula. Now I'm going to get rid of the square root t. I bet you know what I have to do. If I get rid of the radical, I got to do something to both sides. I
Square.
bet you know. Right? Hey, it's like, I don't want that. I'm trying to solve for that. I want to get rid of this hat. I'll just, right, square both sides? Yeah. That, exactly. I'll just take this number, everyone. 0.02 over 1.96 on my calculator. I'm going to square it. And what happens is, you square a radical, and that radical goes away. See? Almost there. I've almost got it solved, but now, everyone, I'm trying to solve for n. It's in the denominator. I want it up in the numerator. So what I'm going to do is multiply an n on both sides. So here I go. I'm going to multiply an n on both sides. I'll continue here. And I'll multiply it to the numerator. All right. 1.96 squared. I'll multiply it on this side. And it disappears off the right side, right? Look at this. See how it disappeared off this? Comes over here. Right? It's gone, look. I multiplied it on both sides of the equation. So my last step, here it is. N equals 0.7 times 0.3 divided by parentheses 0.02 divided by 1.96, and everything that parentheses is squared. And we're going to get a number. We'll do it with our calculator. Now, and we're going to do this on the calculator. Now, algebra haters, I know, like, hey, or you're just like, maybe you like algebra, you're just like, can you just give me a formula? It's a lot easier. I don't have to do all this what? Algebra. Okay, here it is. The formula is n equals, what was that called? P hat, what was this called? Q hat, all over margin of error divided by z, and then what? Squared. So, and this is for anybody, put that in your notes. That always produces the sample size. P hat times Q hat divided by parentheses mo over z squared. Because that's the mo, that's the z, that's the squared. This works every time. And so we do that, Brianna. Yeah, you don't have to do all that algebra. That's for anybody. Anybody in here. This is fun. The only thing it's not on the formula sheet. That's the idea. You're like, okay, I just have to know that. Hey, I'm going to do this now. Everyone, can you make a prediction?
2017.
This number I get, is it going to be higher or less than 1,000?
Way higher.
It's got to be higher, right? If you get 1,000 exactly, it means you made an error and you accidentally used the 0.028. All right, so I'm going to hit the lights. So this is easy to type in. I go in here, and here it is. I go in here, I hit this blank screen. Okay, blank screen. P hat times Q hat, division symbol, parentheses, margin of error, over, what was the Z?
1.96
1.96, close parentheses, and then I want to what?
square.
Square. See that? I mean, it's not hard to type. I mean, I barely had to hit any parentheses. I only had to put the parentheses around the 0.02 divided by 1.96. Now this number, everyone, should be higher than 1,000. Surely it is. It's up at now what? Now keep in mind, this is 2,000.84 people or persons.
So
Can you have 0.84?
no, so next
So always round up to the next, always round up. What would that be rounded up?
2017.
2017. Nope, never round it. We round up so it gets within. We always round up so it gets within. That wording within. If you round it up, you always get it within. So I'm going to go to the next integer, which is 2017 likely voters. Now everyone, I think you have a sense why these polling places don't always do 2%. Won't that cost twice as much money? Do you follow me? Just to go from 3% to the little 2%, just to move a tiny percent, it will cost them twice as much money, hours, etc., just to get there. So it's kind of like what's acceptable in these polling places, and what we get from these polls, 3%. 3%. Isn't that cool? Hey, now this is the most important part today, I think. You go, is there a faster way to do all this what? All this stuff. Right, Autumn?
Yeah.
Autumn's like, come on.
How are we gonna do that in the first place?
I'm like, come on now. Now this one, absolutely, Autumn, you can always use this, right? We can always do that, right?
Yeah.
But let's go back to letter B.
Oh my lord.
Hey, can I erase this algebra? I'm gonna lead up.
Yes.
Get it out. Get it out. Hey, I'll tell you what. Autumn, have no fear with this, because you'll find that this is not hard to do right here. If they have like a p hat at 63%, you get your q hat, you get your margin on a z, it always works out. Now, I'm going to go back to letter B. What do we have to do in letter B? Ellen, what are we going to title this now? What, fast? Autumn's going to put it as, this is my way. This is a fast way, right? To do all these computations. Ellen, welcome to, we know about this. What's the theme of our course? Don't let all the tedious algebra wear us down. Most important to us is interpretation. Most important to us is interpretation and understanding what everything means. But let's use technology to facilitate the tedious what? Computations. True? I know. All right, so we're going to start out. What was the first thing we had to do? Construct the what? And what level was it?
95.
Okay, good. All right, so now. Oh, this is a blast. This is why I know Autumn's going to look at me and go, why didn't you show me that earlier? All right, ready? Go to the calculator. What were the numbers? We read that, and when we read that statement earlier, what do we have? X was 700, right? How many likely voters? 1,000. What was the confidence level?
95.
We haven't been here before, but everyone, this is one of the coolest buttons on this calculator. Go to the stat button. Go to stat. We've been to stat. But everyone, I want you to go all the way over to test. So we know where that stat button is, right? Go to stat. You know where we've been many times? You and I have been in the calc. Remember that? One variable stats? This is the first time you're going all the way over to what?
Test.
You're looking for something that has the word interval in it, right? But what type of interval? This is called a 1 proportion z interval. I'm looking for 1 proportion z. Oh, this was close, but what does it say? 1 proportion z what?
Test.
I don't want that. That's chapter 10. I want 1 proportion z interval. That's a z interval. I don't want that. I don't want z interval. I want 1 proportion z interval. It's got to have that word proportion in it. Where is it? Ooh, thanks, Tia. So I'm going to put A in your notes. 1 prop z in. 1 prop z in. 1 prop z in. 1 prop. Because this is a rock and roll cool button. I'm going to hit it. And this is where you're going to be like, oh, you got to be kidding me. This is going to do it for me? You bet. What was the X? 700. What was that?
1,000.
1,000. Are you kidding me? Well, now, confidence level, you gotta write this as a decimal. Don't put 95, you gotta put what?
0.9.
0.9. And you're like, are you kidding me? Please, and hey, I encourage you to use these. Then you do what? Technically. And you write it down. And you get full credit, don't you? You wanna put it all? Yeah, you might round it. You know what we got before? Autumn, I encourage you to use it. It's pretty easy, right? See, what's important, welcome to stats. What's important? Not the tedious look, I bypassed all this. Everyone, I even bypassed that. Do you agree? I bypassed all that. What's important to us is the interpretation. So, can you help me interpret this? With what level of confidence?
95%.
With 95% confidence. Is it the sample proportion or population proportion?
Population.
The population proportion is between what two numbers? 0.672 and look, I barely got any writing. Now I'm going to dig. Uh-oh. Everyone, I am stuck. I am stuck. Because before I wrote it with that plus. Now Mia, here's where we gotta be careful. I don't have that other cool way I wrote it, right? I don't know this right now. See how it's written? So I'm left kind of going off this. Is there a way to get the margin of error from this? All right, how do you do it?
Calculate the mean between add them and subtract from the mean.
That works. And when I'm going to draw a picture so you can always get the margin of error. There's a 0.672, and who's on the right side?
0.728.
I draw pictures, we can see what the margin of error. Who's in the middle? Who's smack dab in the middle?
The mean.
Yeah, the p-hat. Remember what the p-hat was? It's up on the screen. Let me hit the light. Do you see it? What's the p-hat?
0.7.
If that's in the middle, the margin of error is this number, subtract that number. Just take that subtraction. So Mia, we don't have to do it there. We can just subtract this minus this. Right? Now, you got it. What's 0.728 minus 0.7?
0.028.
Cool. Or if you want, you can take this number, subtract that number. Remember, margin of error means one side. So that's how I'll get my margin of error. That minus that. And put your plus minus, which you get what? And see this? Automatic, barely any writing. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
And then, hey, E, what do you got to do to decrease the margin of error? You got to what? Increase N, and then letter F. Oh, okay. Autumn, you'll probably use that. It's pretty quick. And P hat, Q hat, and your UMAT. You get your 2017. What do y'all think? Who's going to use this button? I would. When I make my answer key, do I use this? Oh, heck yeah. Oh yeah. That's the idea. We know this is available. We could do it by hand, but we're saying, this is what's most important. We know what this means. The article wrote that. Seriously, think about it. Most people read those articles. They don't know what this means. You do. This margin of error of 3%, they're like, I don't know where that comes from. You know. That's what I like about this class. Cool? Hey everyone, super job. Next class we'll do 9-2. Hey, I want to pass back tests and some sheets you can take out.
Keep it.
Keep it.